So let's talk about all the books that have made me cry. I mean, like, not all of them. Let's talk about some of the books that have made me cry. And the fact remains that I don't actually cry that much anyways from watching movies or reading books. I really have to be invested in something for me to feel that emotional, to physically have a response. If you're interested, here goes. Obviously, we have to go for the good old Harry Potter. If you didn't cry when you got to the 7th book, no matter when you read it, you're probably not human. I didn't cry when Sirius died. Spoiler, by the way. I didn't cry when Hedwig died. I didn't cry when Dumbledore died. I didn't cry when Dobby died. I'm kind of a monster. But it's not the deaths that got me. In that final battle in the Great Hall when Harry and Voldemort are kind of having this back and forth taunting dialogue, I can't deal with that. When Harry just said, "I've had enough trouble for a lifetime," right before the epilogue, no, like, you can still see how tear-stained that page is. Like, it didn't dry properly. It's kind of, you know, the paper thing that paper does. The book that wins the award for the most number of occasions that made me cry through one reading would be A Thousand Splendid Suns. It's about these two young women and their journey through Afghanistan when everything's against them. Society, their families. I read this on an 11-hour flight, and that entire flight I was just a sobbing mess. I'd read a chapter and then take a short break because I just can't do it anymore. It's too emotionally draining. But then I can't not read it because it's just so damn good. And I go back and read the next chapter and then cry more, and then the whole process would repeat. If you're in the mood for a good cry, this will get you there fast, like 3rd, 4th chapter fast. By the sheer volume of tears I cried, it's undoubtedly The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. It's so famous by now that if you haven't read it, you've at least heard of it. Historical fiction, Germany set in World War II. And it's just the storytelling with that eloquence and the innocence through Liesel's eyes. Special mention, the Book Thief movie. It was way better than I anticipated. The casting was so on point, and I was just sitting in the theater like vibrating, shaking because I was so affected by it. And since I'm talking about movie adaptations, let's give the last one to Mockingjay. I have not been able to go through a second reading. It was so emotionally draining. Even though I haven't read through the entirety of the book again, I've read through the epilogue maybe 4 or 5 times, and like every time I read it, I still tear up. It's kind of the first actual young adult series that I started reading, not targeted towards children when I was around 11 or 12 and, you know, I was impressionable and I wasn't as, you know, cold and heartless back then. Filming this video has been pretty emotionally draining, but I hope you're happy.